Well, welcome back, Rachel and Becky, and hopefully you've had a few days off that have given you some time to begin to really start to bring your content in and maybe just organize your course shell so that it becomes more personalized to you as a teacher, much like what you do when you come in before classes start and you start to organize your classroom. It's kind of the same exercise in beginning to put things together in your course shell. So as we discussed in our last class, you guys both asked me to expand upon instructional strategies. So I thought it was best to go back to what instructional strategies design means. But before I go into that, I wanted to show you a picture that I think probably might be representative of how you both are feeling about the whole design process. This image is, the planning your online course. Who are your learners? What do you want them to know? The content, how you will assess them. Synchronous, either synchronous or asynchronous. Videos, and it all seems to be a big jumbled up mess at this point. That will, once your course shell is completed, look much more streamlined than this. But I'm sure in your mind it may look a lot like this, where you're just kind of trying to figure out how to put it together, kind of like a puzzle. So I thought this might be a way to just show you that you're not alone, and anybody who is designing an online course goes through exactly this process. So it's very typical, and it's nothing that you should be concerned about. So the strategies of instructional design. There are three types of learning strategies in the instructional design process. You have the organizational strategy, you have the delivery strategy, and the management strategy. And we went over those about 3 weeks ago in the in-class section. So you always have to have those three types of strategies in any instructional design process. So if you don't have those three, you are overlooking one of the main components in the design process. Under the organizational strategy, it's separated into two categories, micro and macro. And micro is drilling down to specifics. Macro is the larger picture. I don't know if either one of you ever took economics, but having been an accounting major in my undergraduate degree, micro and macro economics are very, very much a part of that. And they really give you a picture of why those two things are separated, because you can't combine micro and macro. You lose the content, you lose the focus. So in the same idea in design, you have to have the micro. Micro is going to be the specifics of what your lessons are going to be dealing with. The macro part of that is the bigger objective of what you are going to have your students know and accomplish once they've gone through your course. So if you remember when I've talked about design theories, and I've told you that Charles Reguluth was one of my all-time favorite theorists because I liked his elaboration theory. It went into the chunking of information. You look at the big picture, so that's the macro. You open it up and you're going to tell your audience, what is it that we're going to be accomplishing when we get to the end of this particular lesson. What are we accomplishing? And then you close that lens back down, and then you go to just the first beginning part of the information you want them to do. So the first part of a lesson. And once they've accomplished that, then you open up the lens again and you look at the big picture. Again, that's the macro. You close it back down to then the micro level. It's the next step within the sequencing of whatever your lessons are going to be about. And then as they have mastered the next step, you open up the lens again to the big picture, the macro level, to show them. So they're not losing the focus of why these pieces are connecting together. And then bring it back down to the micro level. If you do it this way, you're going to ensure that your lessons are properly arranged and sequenced. And that's, I think, the biggest reason why I like the idea of an elaboration theory rather than some of the other theories as it applies to instructional design. I know that a lot of people use what's called a chunking method in how they do their instruction, but I think it's particularly important in designing online instruction because it keeps us focused on looking at the big picture, bring it down to the micro level, and ensuring that before we go on to the next piece, we have the ensured that our learners know the content, but then always being ever mindful of letting them see the big picture so that they see how these things are connected. So hopefully that helps a little bit more in the organizational piece, and why, when you drill it down to those two levels, you're always going to ensure that the lessons that you are designing are arranged properly and sequenced properly. The delivery is speaking to how your information is going to be disseminated to the learner. And online, this is just e-learning or any iteration of e-learning you want to use. We then drill that down to whether or not we're going to be doing asynchronous or synchronous. In most online classes, there are fewer synchronous times than there are asynchronous because it's harder to require students to be in a classroom, at least at the university level, because they're taking the course because it's convenient. In Becky's particular situation, there are more synchronous times because in a K-12 classroom they really should be. So when you're looking at how you are putting your information together and how you're going to have your learners actually acquire the information, you're going to embed more synchronous times than not, and that's because it's K-12. If you were doing an higher ed, you would be a little bit more flexible with the synchronous times and let it be more asynchronous because of the scheduling and flexibility of the learners. So again, this is the pieces of the asynchronous and synchronous you're looking at, and you want to make sure you have a good balance between the two. Under the management strategy, you're determining how your learners are going to interact with the activities you have designed. This is the piece that we've talked about. It's the interaction. It's what the students do with the different content that you have and the activities that you have constructed. And these are the specific instructional strategies that you integrate into your lessons. This is the piece that I think that you two are both kind of struggling with, is how do those strategies look? And so in understanding the three pieces, again, I think that this exercise I'm going to have you do might be the clarification point for these strategies. So if you remember from a couple of weeks ago when I did my other video instruction lecture, I listed these particular strategies. I'm coming back to these again because these have probably the widest array of different opportunities for you to embed strategies. So my thought was that I would have you pick 2 or 3 of these strategies and incorporate them into your content. We will then, and I'm going to give you a wide, kind of window of time that we can meet. We can either do Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday, and we're going to do this in VoiceThread. What you will do is we will determine a time that works best for all of us, and we'll come together and you're going to, one, show how you incorporated 2 or 3 of these strategies into your content. The second piece of this is that you're going to come with any additional questions that you want me to answer at that point. So again, just to recap, you're going to pick 2 or 3 of these strategies here and then integrate them into your content. We're going to meet in VoiceThread either Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday. You're also going to have questions that you have come up with after these are ones either that you had before, or these are ones that you came up with as you were integrating 2 or 3 of these strategies into your content. And that will be the focus of our particular assignment here, is to try to provide as much clarification into strategies and possibly look at other alternatives to strategies that you might have either come across in all of the readings that we've done, and then we can kind of look at, what might, I guess, look best for you guys as far as in your individual courses. So I will post this lecture in a discussion thread. In that discussion thread, I would like you to immediately look at your schedules and post times that you would be available to meet. And I'm going to include Sunday in there as one of the opportunities, because I don't know what your schedules look like for Monday and Tuesday. And if you can get this done within the next couple of days, we could actually meet Sunday if that works for you guys. But I'm going to do Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, and then just provide the times that work best in your schedule, and I'll make them work in my schedule. So if you have any other questions that you need immediately answered, post that in that thread as well. Otherwise, I'll look for the times, and then I'll schedule our voice thread for one of those 3 days, and I'll post that on the announcements page, which you'll get an email immediately. So if you can post your availability as soon as possible, that would be great. I hope you guys both have a great weekend, and at least get out before it starts snowing, which is supposed to do that on Sunday. So enjoy your Friday and Saturday, and I will be looking for your posts either today or tomorrow.